Today I'm talking to Steve Wentworth, and you can find out further details of Steve by going to stevewentworth.co.uk. We're talking about spirituality. What exactly is it? What are the benefits? And how do we live our lives at the moment that may mean we're far off of that spiritual beam?
This is a featured UK Talk Radio Top Business.
Steve, we're going to talk about a subject which I think people are aware of, but many people don't actually look into. There's the sense of disease, because most of us are basing our lives on our relationships, our jobs, which it's okay when it's going all right, but once it starts to go wrong, we get some blips. It's like, well, actually, I feel a little bit unhappy here. Do you think that most of us are basing our lives and our feelings on our externals?
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's a symptom of society as it is today anyway, really. It's everybody's searching for something, but it's about where we're looking, where we're actually going to, where we're going to begin our search. The trouble is today is most of us begin our search with, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be what is the next TV or computer I'm going to buy. And we're always looking for something to complete us. And that's what the search is about, feeling complete, feeling whole. Unfortunately, the latest TV, it only lasts 2-3 years. And then it's out of date, or maybe 6 months, and you need a new TV because it's not going to be good enough. And that's kind of consumerism. And in itself, it's a quest for completion. It's looking for something that's going to complete our lives.
And I guess the thing is, with these advertisers, they know that, so they're almost selling us some kind of a dream. But it's like anything, isn't it? Like a relationship, infatuation to start with. A new job is great. You love all the people you work with. Then you find that maybe a couple of them you don't get on with. Yeah. So I guess an answer is, and I like your answer to this solution of a spirituality. Before we find out a little bit more about how that can help, what exactly is a spiritual life? What is spirituality?
Okay. Spirituality, I mean, there's so many different definitions to it, really. From my point of view, I would say it is about looking for something that is bigger than us. It's something that is, at the same time, it's external, but it's also within us as well. Yeah. It's about a connection. It can be a connection to a higher power. It can be a connection to your own inner power as well. But the difference is spirituality, in my opinion, is different to religion. It's spirituality is about finding something that is not defined by somebody else's idea of what you should be looking for. It's about finding your own truth. It's about finding something that resonates with you. Yeah. I think as human beings, it's really natural for us to put labels on everything, to assign labels to everything, whether that's God or whether it's angels or whether it's your spirit guides or whatever you want to call it, or extraterrestrials even. So we like to put labels on absolutely everything, and it's just natural. So I think really the whole quest for a spiritual truth, I think there's room for many different spiritual truths. One person's spirit guide is another person's angel. And I think that once we get away from those specific labels, you start to realise that we've all got a hell of a lot in common. There's a lot that we actually all do agree on. And we just need to start moving away from some of the labels. So yes, spirituality for me is about this quest. It's about finding something that resonates, something that's greater, something that's timeless, something that lasts forever, longer than a TV set.
That you're not looking out for the next one 2 or 3 years later. The buzz has gone and you're happy with it. So a lot of your work is about finding this, encouraging this spiritual way of life, to look for the spiritual. What are some of the benefits that we might get from it when we actually find it?
Okay. I don't think you ever actually always... I think it would be misleading to say that you find it. Right. It's like a constant quest. It's always something that's ever changing, ever evolving as you change as a being, as a spirit, as a human being. Your ideas change, and so spirituality, by its very nature, it flows. But it is constant. It's something that's always there. And once you find your path, because the path is your journey.
Yeah.
Once you find your path, you're always on your path. It's something that's with you. It's something that never leaves you. So, as you said before, a relationship, it could be a relationship that doesn't work out, or and it could feel like the end of the world. But when you're on your spiritual path, you kind of put things in perspective. And things become easier to deal with. Not quite so. Yes, of course, it's upsetting, and anything in your life is going to be upsetting. But it's something that's constant, and your spirituality is something that stays with you no matter what.
So does it allow us to handle situations better, to feel better about them? I mean, obviously, as you say, if we feel disappointed or frustrated and a relationship is finished, obviously those things are natural, that we're not getting away from changing our emotions. But does it allow us to be able to kind of look at that in a different and a more positive way, a better way?
Yeah, it's about taking something constructive from a situation as well. We always want to try to make sense of a situation. And it's very tempting for a lot of us to find meaning in something, or to say, oh, maybe it happened for a reason. It doesn't always have to happen for a reason. It's just part of life, and it's just part of our learning experience. But life is spiritual. It's for me, this is a world that we live in that is a spiritual existence. We're spiritual beings, and we are experiencing something. It doesn't have to have a specific meaning. So it kind of upsets me sometimes when people feel that maybe somebody had to pass away for a specific reason. And I don't always believe that there is a specific reason for it. But it's tempting for us to try to look for that. But it helps us to maybe make sense of it a bit more, to accept the lesson, to accept the experience, and take something from it on a deeper level. Not necessarily say that it happened for a reason, though.
And I suppose that's freeing then, isn't it? Because you're not actually, because as human beings, we are always trying to analyse stuff, always trying to work it out. And that process in itself can be quite tiring, really.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It's always nice to try instead of trying to work out a greater meaning. I think that the real spiritual quest is to maybe look at how it's affected you internally, how it works with you, what lessons that you'll take from it, rather than looking for a grand plan or a meaning to that particular situation. So yeah.
And you have workshops. You also teach people about, or work with people one-to-one. Tell us just briefly about the workshops. And so these, many of these would then be to help people to find their own spiritual way. And there are broad ways then, rather than with religion, you're just helping people to kind of find their spiritual truth.
Absolutely. It's not about, in the groups that I run, people come from all kinds of different walks of life. They have all kinds of backgrounds. They might already have a faith. They might be religious. It's just about helping people to explore their own inner truth. And there's something very beneficial about finding your tribe and being in amongst a group of people who are all on a quest, a spiritual quest. When you're with like-minded people and you find that bond and that connection, it's just nice. Sometimes you might find that if you're on your own, it could be everybody has strange things that happen in their lives, and it could be an experience that they aren't quite sure of. For example, it could be a ghost, it could be something that little moments where you think, is that a psychic experience or something like this. When you're on your own, it's very easy to just dismiss those things and to put it down to your mind or something that is tricking you. But when you're in a group, amongst a group of friends, and you start to find that these little coincidences aren't really coincidences, they're things which are quite profound experiences, that when you start to get confirmation from other people, say in a meditation group, meditation is a fantastic way of exploring something else. An example of this is in one of the groups that I was running, a meditation group. After we've had our meditation, we just feed back to say what we experienced. And the first person fed back, and she said, I was in this cave. It was this beautiful cave, and it was glowing, and there were these other beings in this cave. And someone turned around and said, I saw that. I was in this cave. And the other person turned, I was in this cave, and it was something that all of us in this group, we'd all experienced exactly the same meditation. Now, to have that kind of confirmation and to have that detail is incredible. You wouldn't find that on your own unless you've got that confidence. But once you've been in a group of people, you can take that experience away, and then you start to trust your own experience of meditation or whatever that might be.
A powerful example there, everybody wanting the same kind of thing, working together, and as you say, you can do things individually, but you can easily dismiss it. You also, for people who are maybe a bit further away, you can work with people on Skype who just physically can't get to you.
Absolutely, yeah. I speak to people from all over the world, so actually I speak to people in US, Europe, Asia Pacific, all over the world, actually. So Skype is a fantastic invention. So we're all connected, and this is kind of like, even on a spiritual level, and thanks to the internet, we're physically connected as well all across the world. So yeah,
and that makes it easy. So anybody who's listening is a bit further afield, don't worry, you can also it can work on Skype as well. It's a fascinating subject, trying to find that spiritual path, trying to find a way where life is not kind of affecting us so much, and we're trying to find answers all the time. Just to round off so that we can find out some more details, could you give us your website, please?
Yes, it's stevewentworth.co.uk.
This is a featured UK Talk Radio Top Business.